2 games left, so much riding on them. What have been the emotions, the spirit of the team this week?
Positive, to be honest, and motivated. I think, like you said in the question, there's a lot riding on it, but there's still 2 games, and I think what we have to do is just focus on, at the moment, Arsenal, and not think anything beyond what it takes to do well in the game, because it'll be a great atmosphere, and as you said, there's at the time of the season where there's so much at stake, but there's still a game to play, and if we're thinking about what ifs and other things beyond being at our best on Saturday, then we won't be at our best, and obviously that's not something that can happen with the level of team Arsenal are. So the attitude and the atmosphere in training has been very, very good, very motivated, hard working. I never have any complaints with that, to be honest, very rarely. And at the same time, there's a real focus on doing well on Saturday.
When it comes to these relegation battles, there's always a lot of talk about the mentality side of things and how players deal with pressure. How much confidence have you taken from what you've seen on the pitch? For example, last week against Chelsea, they go behind and the heads aren't dropping. Yeah,
it's true that this time of season does test you in different ways in a mental situation. Both things like teams that are in and amongst what you're trying to do have played before us, and again this weekend there's a game before us, but obviously there's games after us as well. Like the Southampton game, we were the last game for that round of games, and everything went on before it. So it does test you in different ways in terms of keeping your mind on track and on task. And then obviously that can be tested during games as well, like going down in games and maybe some setback in games, and being able to recover quickly and carry on. And for sure, we've showed a really good mental strength in the previous games, and it served us well in terms of picking up some points of the last sort of phase of games. So and I like that about us, is that of course there's always things you want to improve on, and in an ideal world you wouldn't have setbacks in games, because that means something's not gone right, and you're always looking for perfection, really. But the fact that we have been able to recover from many setbacks in games and scheduling and things like that, it's is good. But as always, we've got to strive to improve, and bare minimum, take whatever good we've been doing into the next game.
Arsenal had a real setback last weekend. How do you think they'll come into this game? Is it difficult to know what to expect from them?
I expect to come up against a team that quite rightly has been at the top of the Premier League for most of the season, and you look at how many points they've got and what goals they've scored and all the other data statistics that we can now get our hands on. We're coming up against a top team, and put all the context to our situation and whatever theirs is at the other end of the league, and put that to one side, and we know that we have got to be at our very, very best on the weekend, bare minimum. So when you prepare for a game, you obviously analyse them more than what you already know about, in this case, Arsenal, and they do some brilliant things in the way they set up tactically, and the players that they have, and everything else. So we're fully aware of that. We felt it in the game against them away from home. I like to think we've come on a bit since then. So we have to be more than ready for it. But looking at how training's been, and looking at how the conversations have gone with the players, and what they're talking about, I like the look of the boys, and I like the look of their preparation. And we're going to give ourselves every chance to go and do well.
Can you imagine how much they must be hurting, given how ahead they were in the league for most of the season, and now it looked...
Honestly, Kirsty, it's not something that I think about, and I don't think many managers would have, thinking about their opponents and what situation the opponents may be feeling, because there's so many times we've come up against teams when you could assume that they might be in a certain situation, and we've had the complete opposite. we'll be preparing for Arsenal to be who they are, and that's as I said in the previous question, a team that's been at the top of the league, and rightly so, for a long time. And we've got to be at our very best. But as always, we're in control of that. We're in control of what we do. We're in control of having a really good impact in the game, and that's where our intentions lie.
It's always going to be difficult given the amount of new players we saw last summer. A lot was said about that at the start of the season in terms of how long it would take players to get used to the league and to gel. Are we really starting to see that now? We've got Awoniyi who scored 4 goals now in his last 2 games. You know, players like him, are they hitting form at the right time?
Well, I hope so. I hope players are feeling good about themselves, and this is what you want to players at this time of the season, where regardless of what you're playing for, to be confident about themselves, be confident in the teammates and the plans we put in place, that they can go and succeed in the next game. So all of the stuff about how many players we've signed and the story of the season with all the injuries, etc., it's all irrelevant now. It's about the present. It's about Saturday, and we're not looking any further than that. And we'll try and get the team best prepared as we can. Players are certainly doing their best to be in that mindset. I can see that. And, as I said, in terms of preparation, that gives you the best opportunity to deliver on a match day. And, come early Saturday evening, we'll be giving everything we've got to get what we desperately want. And, we're looking forward to it.
And you go into the game with your future in your own hands, given your league position, the gap you've got over the relegation zone. Do you feel you are that one step closer to safety?
Well, I think, again, wherever you are in the league, and it was obviously a different situation last year, very different. When you're playing for something, you always want it to be in your hands. And we've managed to create that for now. And that's what we've got to try and capitalise on. A lot of hard work to do that. A lot of good things need to happen to keep it that way. But we've got to have the confidence and the motivation, which I believe we have, to make it that way. And yeah, it's if you like, there's a mini league going on at our part of the season, and our part of the table, and we want to stay minimum where we are now. But I repeat, there's so many things that can happen between now and the next 2 games, and we've just got to concentrate on what we're in control of, concentrate on the present, getting the best out of every day. I believe we're all doing that, staff and players, and that gives us the best chance.
You changed things up at Chelsea, and you brought in Joe and left Brennan on the bench. Do you face a bit of a selection dilemma, because it seemed to work very well for you?
I have for a while, to be honest, Damien. It's what you want, really. You want to have selection dilemmas in a positive way, not ones that are forced on you. And believe me, we've had a few of them. But yeah, we looked at what we thought the game may need against Chelsea. We looked at the personnel, and try and pick the right team. So what's good about the group at the moment, and maybe it's been the case all season, is that everybody wants to play. Of course, everybody wants to start the games, but a lot of that personal sort of pride and sometimes ego is put to one side and is hidden by the players who are not starting, because they know the greater good of the club is more important, and I think that's a positive thing. So so it's not just about dilemmas for the last game and the next game. It's been like that for a little while now, and I'd rather it that way than it being straightforward where you haven't got decisions to make.
Just a word about Awoniyi. He's come back from injury. What has changed about him? He seems to have almost grown certainly in confidence and stature. What's been happening with him?
No, well, yeah, I agree with he's in a good place. I think he was also in a good place before he got injured. Remember, he scored that vital goal down at Southampton and then walked off and was out for 3 or 4 months. Your hope then was when he does return that he could get back to how he was when he got injured, because he was doing really well before. A little bit at the start, like everything of the season, but found his feet, and don't underestimate how big a move it is to come from another country, another league into England, and particularly the Premier League. I think it takes it's taken everybody to adjust a little bit. And in the end, he did, and was showing who he is before he got injured. He got injured. You hope his returns and try and hit the ground running and pick up where he left off. And fortunately, up to now, he has done that. And performance-wise, I think it's been excellent since he's come back into the mix. What's pleasing for everybody, including him, is that he's managed to get a few goals now in the last couple. And in the end, that's what we need. That's what any team needs, and that's what he needed as well. So far so good with him in terms of his return. He's back now. It's not about return, but he needs to play well if selected on Saturday, and do everything he can to try and score again. Thanks, Damien.
Hi, Steve.
Okay, go on, mate.
Yeah, good, thank you. Just a few follow-ups for me, more Nathan. Final home game of the season. A lot's been made about the away form this season, but the home form's been it's been pretty strong. Why do you think that is?
Well, excuse the pun, but I think obviously we feel like home. It feels like home. You know, the support that we get from the stands and from the people that come and watch us week in, week out. And I said after the Chelsea game, the away support has been just as good. Obviously, it's less numbers. It's been just as good. It's just that we haven't been able to give them more to shout about. But in terms of the home, there's been a real sense of support, goodwill, and really getting behind the team and being proud of Nottingham Forest and proud of the team. And there's been a real feeling of sticking together, whatever has happened or might happen or is happening during a game. And that's why I feel like we've managed to, you know, like in previous games, get through times where we've been Brighton, we go 1-0 down, you know, and they play really well first half. You know, Southampton, you know, edging and flowing, and they're coming back into the game. You know, support's been incredible, you know, absolutely incredible. I'll never get tired of saying it. So that's, for me, the main factor, as well as the players really committing to the plan and showing who they are and doing whatever it takes.
Brilliant, that's all for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Hi, John.
Is it an advantage playing first? Obviously, he played four, and he's played four this weekend. Is that an advantage, or is it sometimes?
Well, there's a game before us as well, isn't there? Because we kick off a bit later. Now, I don't think that. I mean, fair play to the players, particularly the Southampton game, where everything went on before us. The players have really shown that they can stay on task and not be deterred really about what's gone on elsewhere. So I don't really think it's an advantage or a disadvantage. It's never that easy, is it? So no, it's like I said, it's all about taking care of your own business. It's all about doing what it takes to look after yourself, because in the end, that is the biggest aspect to determining where you end up. We're mindful of that, and that's where our focus is.
Will you watch the Leeds game and the last game, or will you take yourself away from it?
Later in the days after, I don't know. I don't know what I'll be doing, to be honest. I don't know. To be fair, if it's on, it's on. And I'm there, I certainly won't be hiding away from it. But like I said, them other games are not focusing our mind more than our game, because that's the most important game to us, of course.